And this is our Eye on Bago segment. Now, some of you guys are joining us for the first time. I know. It's quite a lot to remember. But this is our Eye on Bago segment. It's Wednesday. It's a beautiful Wednesday on the island of Tobago at that. And my next guest is equally amazing and equally beautiful. We were just having a discussion during the break. Whitney Balfour is back. Yes, guys. And you would remember Whitney from one of our previous episodes. And we were speaking on positivity. We were speaking on the positive mind. And her new show, Guided Talk, is actually the talk of the town today, because that's what we're going to be discussing. And you can look out for Guided Talk as one of our staples on Brunch, A Taste of Tobago. So we're going to get into just a bit. So Whitney, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me yet again.
Yeah, how are you doing? How have you been?
I am actually well. I'm well. I'm trying to keep up with it all, the balance between family life and, your work life and all the projects that you may have going on. So, yeah, it's going okay. It's just a balancing act.
And getting involved in business, because there's always something new to learn. There's always something that has to make you stand up and take notice, or stand up and listen and say, hey, all right, maybe I need to divert.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to change this.
Yes.
So it's always a balancing act.
Exactly. So on the road with entrepreneurship, it is always bumps and twists and turns and twists. I was at, I recently spoke at an event, and I was saying, entrepreneurship is just a bumpy road.
It is.
It's a bumpy road. There's potholes, there's all these things, and you just have to learn how to navigate through it all with endurance and, of course, with God.
Yes, definitely. So, Guided Talk. Tell us a bit about Guided Talk. You mentioned it the last time you were here, very briefly, but let's delve into what is Guided Talk, the journey that brought you to Guided Talk.
All right.
Yeah.
So it's really Guided Girl Talk. That is the community. It's a faith-based community. It's built really to empower young females through conversations. And these conversations are centered in self-development and entrepreneurship, and also spiritual development, because I believe that is your base. Yes. And apart from that, I recognize that we are also doing guided events. So we actually had our first hike. It was a restorative hike. And this hike, we took a bunch of young, budding, beautiful young ladies.
Oh, lovely.
We took them from the picturesque Buku beach to No Man's Land. That was the hike. And through that hike, we would have had worship, we would have had fellowship, and then when we had prayer as well.
Right.
When we got to the destination, of course, we had fun in the water. But while doing that, we did a lot of affirmations and just building each other up, encouraging each other, and forming a backbone, or forming a basis from just the hike. The whole process of the hike, there was serious sandflies.
Yeah, you can't get away from the sandflies.
It was serious sandflies. It was mushy because the rain was that day had a lot of rain.
Right.
So it was really mushy. It was moist. It was disgusting. But at the end of the day, we got there, and it was a perfect epitome to the journey of life. There are bumps, there are twists, it's unpleasant. Things bite you. But at the end of the day, you're going to get to this beautiful destination, which is what you've been waiting for all the time. So the whole thing with Guided Girl, and what what Brunch has asked me to do, which is to really have conversations to highlight young women. It's not really about me. It's more so about the young women that we are trying to uplift, we are trying to build, we are trying to encourage, we are giving a voice to the voiceless, and we are allowing women to be seen when they weren't seen. So really and truly, it is true encouragement through conversations, self-development and self-building. And that is what we really want to do. So we want to invite the women, the young girls, onto set and really have them talk about their obstacles and the way in which they would have navigated through, so that they now can be a catalyst or an advocate for other young women to really see, I too can make it through.
And that there's so much strength and power that could come when you are confident in yourself, when you know, because you sometimes life happens.
It does.
We can't get away from that. And you could be very, very confident, and it could be just one thing someone says, one thing someone, alludes to, and
Yes.
your whole outlook change. I mean, as young women and young men, peer pressure is another thing. It's a
Yes.
whole other vibe. And somehow you are expected to navigate through that.
Yes.
And I always say, for persons who would have been homeschooled, no malice to homeschool training, but when you did not enter into the societal type of environment that school gives you, there's certain things that you don't know. Human behavior, you meet one of every type of child at school, any type of environment at school. And so you miss out on that training that is supposed to take you into adulthood, because it's basically the same field, the same players, just that everybody's older. And you miss out on some vital aspects of human interaction. And so guided girl talk is like, it's like a breath of fresh air.
Thank you.
Because I cannot stress enough how much we need to have people that care and want to mentor and want to encourage and want to empower. It is just that. And I am so proud of you. I am so happy for you. And let's just get off guided girl talk. Tell me, you see this outfit? Let me talk about this outfit for a little while, right?
Oh my gosh.
Because you walked in and I'm looking and I'm seeing the blazer and the t-shirt and stuff like that. And I said, okay, I have to take just a little time and talk about this ensemble today. All right. So tell us, what is the theme? Are we
Well, really and truly, I was
feeling-
saying to myself, I'm going to speak about my young girlies. So perhaps I need to be young and fresh. I should go in with a bright color, and I should break it down with a little t-shirt,
Yes, but I am
to bring that casual
absolutely-
vibe. It's Pink Zebra Fashion House.
Right.
It's where I get my clothing.
Pink Zebra Fashion House. Good morning to you. You have a beautiful canvas, let me just say. So I had to take the time to let's talk about the outfit for a little while.
It's just too much.
She says I'm too much, but that's just how we do it.
Thank you,
Brunch.
Janelle.
Yeah. But guided girl talk.
Yes.
What is it like for you, given some of the experiences that you would have had, some of the stories that you could tell for the persons who are entering into that space, and sometimes they just need someone to listen.
Exactly. So, of
Yeah.
course, I was a youth as well. So I know, or I have an idea as to the struggles that I would have faced. And
Right.
Janelle, to be really vulnerable and honest here, I would have really struggled with depression.
Yes.
I struggled with it for a long period of my life, from as young as I could remember. Perhaps I could say from the tender age of 9 to adulthood.
Right.
I would have struggled with depression and even suicide. Yes, I would
So
have
it was a
attempted
long
suicide
stint
twice
of-
in my life.
Yes.
So when you would have endured some of the things that I would have endured, like depression and suicide, and feeling like there is no help, feeling like you're lesser than yourself, having to deal with low self-esteem. I mean, these things, a lot of people look at me and like, How?
Yeah.
How did you deal with that? But the thing about depression, it hides. It hides.
And
And I
that's
was
the
very
deadly
good
part.
at masking
Yeah.
what I was going through. And so it was only in 2019 actually, when I entered into a church, because I was a party girl, serious party girl,
Yeah.
socialite. And I was invited to church, and it was on that visit I met God. I was delivered from depression, from suicide. And so as a result of that, I acknowledge that there is a need. I speak constantly with young people. I speak constantly with people on a whole. When they come into Pink Zebra, it's not only about purchasing clothing. I always have conversation with my customers, always. And I would recognize that there is that void in a lot of us that we try to cover up with clothing, that we try to cover up with our degrees, that we try to cover up with money,
Yeah.
right? And so acknowledging and seeing the need, I say, okay, Whitney, you need to step up and fill the need. And I think if a lot more of us recognize the needs that are in our society and really dare to go forth and make a change, we would see so many generational curses being broken. We will see so many cycles being broken in our community if we could just acknowledge the fact, be self-aware that I went through this. So there's more than likely somebody else that is going through this.
Definitely.
And therefore, if I have been delivered from this, if I'm walking myself through this with God, or even with yourself, even with a therapist, you have a responsibility, I think, a social responsibility to really fill that void and fill that need. So this is the birthing of Guided Girl Talk.
You know, and I was reading on something that you wrote, and this came from your. It's like from the depths of you, actually. So you'll tell me if you recognize these few words. I'm just going to read a bit of it.
Sure.
The season for friends and family to carry you is over. You have transitioned into a season where the ceiling has been removed, where limitations and barriers have been broken. Doors and dimensions you have once couldn't enter is accessible to you. There is a ceiling breaking anointing in the atmosphere. There is a shifting from impossible to possible, from limited to limitless. God has shifted your gears. God is doing the supernatural. No more dependency and reliance on man. In this season, trust and heed the word of God and pick up your bed and walk. That's my favorite part. Pick up your bed and walk.
Yes.
Because
Jesus said it the best.
Yes. Because it sounds like, okay, there's just no time. We don't have time for self-pity. We don't have time for misery. We went through all that before.
Yes.
Get it going.
Get together.
Get moving. You know, and that is the part that stood out for me. Because sometimes you need to actually hear that. Whitney, get it together.
Get up and walk.
Janelle, get it together.
Yes.
It's like sometimes you need to hear it because we kind of slip sometimes.
Yes.
And as human beings, we are not without fault.
Truly.
We are not by any means good in everything, and we're on a pinnacle, and we have faults.
Yes.
We fall short.
Yes.
Because we are human. Yeah. But I think it's being honest. You see that honesty? That honesty is so important. And I think too many times it is thrown out
the door.
It's like you pitch it over the fence because, hey, I don't want to deal with this today. So the honesty gone.
I mean, what is the point showing up into a space and you're not going to be authentic?
Exactly.
What is the real impact that you will give when you're not going to show up as yourself? God has really created you to be you. And you have to find that value within you and know that when I show up, I add value to this room. I'm going to add value wherever I go. So therefore, I strongly believe in being authentic. Whether it is good, it's bad, it's ugly, wherever stage you are at, be authentic. And really and truly, that post that you just read, oh Lord.
Yeah, that's why I was like, tell me if you recognize
That
these
post
words.
hit so, it's hit so close to home.
Yeah.
That post was for me. And I was just sharing it with others because I believe God has really placed us in community and we are all connected.
Yes.
So I may be going through something in a season and I may endure, I may come out of it, but then it's imperative, I think, for us to share so that you could help the other through it.
Definitely.
You know, you could hand out your hand and pull it up. And really and truly, I would have really suffered a season where I didn't have the zeal, Janelle.
It just wasn't fair.
I wasn't there. I was showing up, but not showing up.
Yes.
You know, and really and truly, what I was guided or what was impressed upon my heart was that it is time for you to rise up. It is time for you to come out of that place of paralysis because, you know, sometimes our fears grip us and we are in a paralysis.
Yeah.
Our depression might grip us and we are in a state of paralysis.
Yeah.
Anxiety grip us and we are in a state of paralysis. And really and truly, God is saying, pick up your bed and walk. I've called you to walk.
Yes. And, you know, that is such a fitting way to wrap up this discussion. You know, I love talking with you so much. The time goes and I just don't know where. It just goes. But we will be seeing each other again because Guided Girl Talk is coming to Brunch, guys. Wow. And trust me, you do not want to miss out on these wonderful and uplifting stories. So thank you so much to my sister Whitney. Thank you for sitting with me. And, you know, from our family to yours, of course, blessings and success.
Good success
to you in your endeavors.
Thank you.
All right, guys. So we're going to take a break. We're going to be right back with more Brunch, A Taste of Tobago. Our trivia question for today is, in Tobago, there is a beach that is famous for its pink sand. What is the name of this beach? The answer at the end of the show. See you guys soon.